Talk heavy. Greetings. It's like it's like 1:30, quarter to 2 in the afternoon. December the 28th, I believe. Is it the 29th? Let me explain something to you. Honestly. Because it's about to be 2025. And it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years since the horrible time period. I just can't call it an incident because it was a horrible time period. You know, went through so much. The aftermath was like a huge 5.6 on the Richter scale type of incident. That the backlash was worse than the incident. You know, we all lose people in our lives. We all are fallible. We all are extinctable. We all gonna definitely go. We can't exist on this earth forever. So everything that we didn't conjure up in our lives, our personality, our perspective, our intellect, our knowledge, what we became good at, the things that we done, the things that we do, all of those idiosyncrasies is what built you for who you are. And trying moments is no different. You know, when you go through trying moments, like I've done in many periods of my life, it starts to become a part of you. You know, you start to thinking that, your lot is a form of disappointments and heartbreaks, but that's not what all life is about. So I come to the point in my life where I just thank God for the blessings of going through the experiences that I went through. Because in going through those type of experiences, you know, it constructs you, it builds you. You know, through those experiences, you start to develop abilities and skills that can help you transition to your next adventure, your next sight. You know what I mean? Because if you don't think of accomplishment something that you attempt, if you don't believe in your heart that this is going to work, then you shouldn't even do it. But if it don't work, that don't mean that the thought isn't real or the power of that thought isn't real. It don't mean that it can't be accomplished. The thing about doing is once you get into your mind and you believe it in your heart and you put action behind it, it's going to develop. A lot of us fall short of the prize because we give up, because we get disheartened. You see the people around you fall short of your expectations of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. That's because um, you want other people involved. And that's been my case. I've been wanting other people involved in things that I've been trying to do. And you can't get other people to believe in your dream before it materializes. It's just, that's the way it is, you know. And I just kept at it. I just kept at it because of the why. See, you can do anything that you set out to do. You could be proficient in the thing that you was attempting to do. But honestly, it's going to work on its own terms. You put the thought out there, that's like planting a seed in the garden. It needs time to tend. It needs time to form. It needs time to grow. But with that time, it's a process. So you go through the process of tending the garden, of fertilizing, of doing the things that's necessary to produce a fertile ground for growth. Never stop doing, never stop being. And then once you set that foundation, allow time to dictate its agenda. Nothing's overnight. So when I set out on this path, I set out on this path because I didn't want to go down the other path. We have in our community the audacity of premature responses. You know, when something happens, we like to respond instantly. Because our thoughts is that we're trying to be played with, or we're trying to be taken out, or whatever the situation may be. But your first inclination is what your norm, what the norm is, what your history is. In our community, our history is violence in a lot of ways, but consistent violence. We believe that inflicted violence will solve the problem, and it never does. You know, it's been many times in my history that I had to respond. It was a lot of times that, the way how I think got me through situations. But when something happens close to home, your emotions take over. Your ego get involved. And the first thing you do is you want to pick up a gun. When my son got killed, so many of my emotions, so much of my thinking, it just went in a different direction. Let me put it that way. The thoughts I was having, the actions that I was about to take, it's just not really benefit. But I was on that. Um, I was on that so much so that, you know, I took the first initial steps. And my thinking was, right after the situation, I'm on it. But you know, during the occasion that we had for our son, another incident happened with my nephew. Um, you know, life life is really tricky, but it's honest. What I've learned is that we work off of frequency. um, we don't know the frequency that we give off a lot of times, but that's how things are. That's how the universe responds to us. They respond to us through frequency. So the frequency that I was on was different. And when the incident happened with my nephew, you know, my frequency turned different. Something else started to materialize within my soul, within my every fiber of my being. It's just anger left me. Um, I don't know what came over me, but I knew that there was a problem. I knew that there's a situation. I knew that there was a bigger problem than my son or my nephew's murder, my cousin's murder. It's a bigger problem than that. I see that there's nothing special about that because there's so many of our kids is being murdered. It's so many that some of them haven't even made mistakes, you know, and through unfortunate circumstances, they lose their life for situations that they had nothing to do with. My son and my nephew's murderer didn't even know. They wasn't paid to kill my son or kill my nephew. They wasn't targeted. A lot of the murders that's happening in our city is happening. The victims is innocent. Most of the victims had nothing to do with whatever stripe or gripe that was happening. But because you choose a gun, lives was lost. And that's serious. And that's a situation that changed my perspective. Because I look at the whole, I just don't look at the individual or the one. I got 13 grandkids. Excuse me, I got 11 grandkids. I fear for their safety. Not from what they do, but just existing in these environments. These environments produces tragedy. And understanding that, you got to understand where it started from, where it come from. Not in previous time periods, but in this one. And when I look, I have to look into what I've done, my life, the footprints that I laid. Because we looking and pointing the fingers at them, at the young, saying they foolish. What are they doing? But I had to really think about my life and put my life on the front, on the board, and just jot down the things that I've done, what I participated in. And from the ages of 14 until ultimately getting indicted at 19, I was in the streets. I participated in the beginning stages of the crack epidemic. Oh, man. When visualizing that, when seeing that, I had to assume some responsibility in what's going on in this day and time, in real time. I got to understand that, wait a minute. This is the beginning. This is the genesis. That crack epidemic, that was the genesis. Because before that, even though money wasn't really visible, we had unity, we had love, we had companionship. We helped one another. We responded properly to one another. That's because we was raised, we was taught, we was instructed, we was guided, we was nurtured. Those ingredients that we were ingested with coming up built us for what's to come in adulthood. It made us into critical thinkers, critical planners, critical formulators. It made us into a generation that we could see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, we got our sights on the top of the hilltop. We was rising in different areas in this economy in a very lucrative way. And then the infestation of crack being dropped into our communities. And because of our financial situation and condition, nothing else. Because of our financial situation and condition. We took that and ran number, but in the process, it drove us crazy. We done unthinkable acts collectively. It destroyed our communities, our souls from within. And this is what we left as an example for our future to follow. So what do we expect from this? What do we expect to happen when it was a period in our lives, 10, 15 years, when we just completely lost our minds? And when we have children that's looking up to us with all that negativity, how you think they are built now? But see, the thing is, they didn't have the tools that we were raised with. We were taught to properly respond, to properly conduct ourselves. We were instructed on how to live, man. We never gave that to them because we was too caught up in our own shit. So when understanding that, I knew that anger wasn't the answer. Understanding the realization and accountability was the answer. We can't fault them for not knowing how to respond. We can't get mad at them for responding the way that they respond to situations when we haven't given them any other recourse. So, these past 3 years, I went through unsurmountable trials and tribulations, setbacks, and losing everything. I now understand what my true purpose is. Throughout all the chaos, because I take accountability for my action, God bless me with the realization of how to move forward. So instead of acting violently, I understand consciously that there are actions that could be taken so that we all could benefit, instead of actions that I could take where the only benefit would be to my ego. So, being as though that I'm in my present current situation, to try to do both, which is to continue on in my plight and aim, and to bring an awareness to the realities that we face today was because of what we done yesterday. And to understand that the power that we have now with the technology, we can produce benefit from it. So I had to tap into me tap into my experiences. And I had to come face to face with the harsh reality of my true emotions. And I went to battle. And the outcome is hashtag talk heavy. So for the past 2 years, I've been writing a book about the emotions that I went through, the thoughts that went through my mind, the people who was around me that was experiencing the same horrors that I experienced, family. I wrote a book about that experience through that times because it's happening so much in our community. And right now, it's in the publisher's hands, and they putting it together to produce a good product, a good book that hopefully can change the perspective of what's going on right now, so people can see the harsh realities of terror, of horror in our inner city communities. What fathers, what men go through because we keep things to the breast. We don't divulge our true emotions, our feelings. But I believe that it's wanted now. So I put it all in the book, and once I have a date that it will be put out, I'll let you know. But this is the start of the new beginning. The best thing that we can do is take responsibility for our own actions. And when we take responsibility for our own actions, then we can better respond to our situations. There's no other better recourse. You dig? Listen, it's Mr. Talk Heavy, man. I appreciate everybody tapping in when you're hearing this. And this is what's going on. People who haven't really seen me, I've been working. So I'm going to tap in with y'all, all right? Remember, love life and live it to the fullest. Mr. Talk Heavy. Peace.